What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here, and welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, the two upcoming packages. Part one, the physical infrastructure package, which is $1.2 trillion and has a deal between the Republicans and the Democrats and is at the final steps, literally is probably within the last 24 hours of passage. I'm going to give you the final details on that, and it's what is going to happen next. And then we'll immediately go on to the initial stages of passing part two, the next stimulus package, which is $3.5 trillion. And we will probably be finding out what is going to be in this next package, what is going to be in there, the big enchilada, what we all want to know, and how much it's going to be, what's going to be in there, stimulus checks, child tax credits, adult tax credits, monthly payments, rent assistance, mortgage assistance, SNAP, WIC, and pandemic EBT. Will there be an extension of SNAP benefits? Yeah, all the things on our list that we've been waiting for that will immediately be coming on after this next package. In fact, we're going to hear from Senator Bernie Sanders on part one and part two in this package here of kind of what is going to be happening next. Yeah, he's going to fill us in on kind of what's going to be going forward here. So if you're new to the channel or if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so. And remember that new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will keep you up to date with everything stimulus related, what's going on in the United States, and what is going on in Washington, D.C. Things are literally changing by the day, sometimes by the hour, and I will keep you up to date with everything. Okay, first, let's start with Senator Bernie Sanders, who is the Senate Budget Chairman. He is the person in charge of, or largely considered in charge of, this next stimulus package, which has been announced by the Democrats at $3.5 trillion and is going to come immediately after the passage of this Part 1 physical infrastructure package. So here's Senator Bernie Sanders, the Senate Budget Chairman, on Part 1 and Part 2.
As you know, the Senate is starting to consider various amendments to this $1 trillion plus infrastructure bill, but you only have a handful of days before the Senate recess. So how do you get this done?
By working very hard and working long hours. My hope and expectation is that this hard infrastructure bipartisan bill will get done by the end of the week, and then we will immediately turn to what we call the reconciliation bill. A bill which I think will have an extraordinarily positive impact on working families, and that will deal with the issues of extending the child tax credit, that $300 a month check for working families for their kids, which has cut childhood poverty in America by 61%. Will reform in a very comprehensive way child care. We're going to expand Medicare to cover dental care, eyeglasses, hearing aids. We're going to finally get the United States to have paid family and medical leave. We're going to put a whole lot of money into affordable housing. And of course, in the midst of this horrible climate crisis that we face, we're going to begin the process of transforming our energy system away from fossil fuels. And when we do all of those things, Wolf, we're going to create millions of good-paying jobs.
You say, Senator, there could be no infrastructure bill, and that's a $1 trillion plus bill, without a reconciliation bill. That's another $3.5 trillion. But can moderate Democrats trust progressives to deliver the votes for infrastructure? And can you trust the moderates to back that $3.5 trillion deal that you want? This is really complicated.
It is. It is extremely complicated, and we look forward to the White House playing an active role in terms of making sure that we have the votes that we need to pass reconciliation. Unlike, obviously, the bipartisan bill, the reconciliation bill, which is really transformative, it begins to address the reality that for decades, Congress has paid a whole lot of attention to the rich and the powerful and campaign contributors and ignored the needs of the working class in this country. So having said that and demanding that the wealthy start paying their fair share of taxes, we're not going to get any Republican support. So we have 0 Democratic votes to spare. But at the end of the day, the House and the Senate are going to have to come together to do something which is overwhelmingly popular among working families. People are sick and tired of seeing the rich get richer and everybody else struggling. They want action, and we're going to give them what I think is long overdue.
Are you worried, Senator, that the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi will bow to pressure from moderate Democrats to decouple the infrastructure deal from the $3.5 trillion spending package?
Well, Speaker Pelosi, I think, has been very strong, and what she understands it is imperative that we pass both, that we cannot go forward with just the bipartisan bill. Look, to be very honest with you, Wolf, I'm a former mayor, so I know a little bit about roads and sidewalks and bridges and all that stuff. It is terribly important. We have an enormous amount of work to be done in that area. But human infrastructure, the needs of working families and our children and our elderly, that's actually more important. So both of these bills have got to go forward together. And when we do that, we will create many, many good-paying jobs. And one of the things I'm really excited about is we go forward in transforming our energy system and trying to reverse climate change. We're going to create a civilian climate corps, which will provide hundreds of thousands of good-paying jobs for young people and give them the opportunity to lead the effort in trying to save this planet. So there's just a lot that we have to do. Now is the time to do it. And I will tell you that you got a lot of special interests, the drug companies who are going to lower the cost of prescription drugs, the healthcare industry, the fossil fuel industry, you name the big money interests that are going to try to defeat us. But it's important that we hang in there together and that we pass this bill.
We'll see what happens this week and in the coming weeks. Senator Sanders, thanks as usual for joining us.
Yeah, so there's a lot that he talked about there. We'll get to this here in a second. He says, "My hope and expectation is that the hard infrastructure bipartisan bill will get done by the end of this week." Now, they did not vote on this last night. There was a chance that the Republicans were actually saying that they may have voted on this last night. They did not do that. But they will get this done by the end of this week. Now, the end of this week actually does include this weekend. The senators actually worked on Saturday and Sunday last weekend. So note that they're saying they could vote on this today. They could vote on this on Saturday. They will work through the weekend to finalize infrastructure part 1. And then we will immediately turn to what we call the reconciliation bill, says Senator Bernie Sanders, on the looming infrastructure vote. They are in session, or they will be in session next week, from what I understand. So when they pass part 1, they will then go on to part 2, the next stimulus package. So yeah, I have several different headlines here. You can see Senate in talks to quickly pass the infrastructure bill, part 1. Senate infrastructure final vote expected as soon as this weekend. Lawmakers consider amendments offered by Republicans and Democrats to fine-tune elements of the roughly $1 trillion bill. Could be voting on this today, could be voting on this tomorrow, part 1. Several different details I'm going to give you here in a second. Then they will be voting on part 2. Talk about part 2 and the stimulus package details here in a second as well. Infrastructure bill floats national mileage fee, which could be considered a gas tax, which could be on average everyday Americans. Once they pass part 1, we're going to be getting a lot of details on what actually passed. Because remember, they're changing a lot of details here that we won't really know about until they actually pass it. This is called the amendment process, okay? So once they pass this bill, we're going to actually find out a lot of details on what is called pay-fors, what is going to actually be the tax hikes, what could be tax hikes, what could be paid for, or what pays for these bills. So once they pass the bill, you're going to want to watch that video that we have here that is going to happen here probably within the next 24 to 48 hours on this infrastructure package, the pay-fors. Because again, I know this is the physical infrastructure package, and then we're all going to look forward to the next stimulus package. But we got to pay attention to the details here, because the Republicans and Democrats are going to decide how they're going to pay for this infrastructure package, okay? And remember, the Republicans have been throwing several different amendments there of what they're calling a use tax, USE, a gas tax, or a mileage tax. And remember that President Biden didn't want to do those, but they could get thrown in there at the last minute. So, um, again, I'm not choosing sides. I have no say over this matter. They're the ones voting on this bill. So I don't really know what's going to get thrown in this bill during this amendment process. So once this bill passes, I'm going to try to dig through this bill, go through the headlines, go through the bullet points. The bill is 2,702 pages. So, yeah, I'm going to try to go through as many articles here on screen with you, or just kind of in between videos, and try to get through as many details with you, because what's going to be important there is, yes, it passes, but also, will there be any tax hikes? It's kind of important, right? Will there be gas tax hikes? Will there be mileage taxes, which is basically gas tax hikes? Will there be any kind of hidden tax hikes or anything along those lines, or something that maybe we're not expecting? Okay, remember that they're saying that part one, the physical infrastructure package, and part two are both fully paid for. Okay, um, so yeah, will there be any tax hikes? Okay, remember part two, again, we don't really know how that's going to be paid for yet as well, but they're saying corporation tax hikes, they're saying tax hikes on the wealthy, they're saying they're going to pay for it with pharmaceutical prescription drug prices, by basically forcing pharmaceutical companies to give the prescription drugs to the US government and to people, by forcing them to sell pharmaceutical drugs to the same price that they sell to other countries. That alone will save the US government like $600 billion a year. So that savings, actually, a savings of $600 billion, is actually paid for. So if the government saves $600 billion a year, it's between $400 to $600 billion a year. That savings can actually pay for the package. So if the government saves $600 billion a year, it's the same thing as using that savings. Um, for example, I know this might get a little bit complicated. Don't worry about it if you don't understand it. But if the government saves $600 billion a year, it's the same equivalent of passing a $600 billion stimulus package, for simplicity's sake. So if the government saved $600 billion a year, they could equivalently pass a $600 billion stimulus check, and everything would be equal. Okay, hope that makes sense. So once they pass these two packages, there's going to be a lot of fine details that we're going to want to go over. Once they pass stimulus package number two, there's going to be like, boom, all these new stimulus items that are going to be like, hey, look at this. Look at this check. Look at this child tax credit check. Look at this adult tax credit check. It was like when stimulus package number three came out, there were like all these things. Were like, wow, $1,400 checks. $1,400 checks for children. Oh my God, there was checks for adult dependents and let me see here, adult dependents and college student dependents who didn't even get checks the last time around. So that was like a first. Like we didn't even, that was the first time around that they ever got checks. So we were like, wow, that was a brand new thing. Then there was also these brand new child tax credits, these $250, $300 per month. So that was like, again, a brand new thing. And there was also that $10,200 unemployment provision. Again, a brand new thing that they literally added in at the last minute. In fact, so last minute that the bill was written and the House had passed their bill, and the Senate was like, we're going to add this in at the last minute. They had to rewrite the whole bill because they added that in at the last minute. By the way, that's one of the provisions that the House can add in, or anybody, they could add those in at the last moment. They could add that in for this year, an unemployment provision for this year. In fact, these are all the different stimulus provisions being discussed, or have been discussed by the Democrats for the next stimulus package. In fact, I actually have one on here that I actually didn't put on the list, and that would be PPP program for small businesses. So yeah, that could definitely be another thing, another round of paycheck protection program that could be added on there, especially with new cases going up. New cases going up across the United States. 100,000 new positive cases every single day going up across the United States, and new mask mandates and everything going on across the United States. Yeah, I mean, we definitely could see that because businesses are struggling. I just got to scroll down here a little bit. There's also Snap and Pandemic EBT there. I can't really even fit all these on one screen here. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that are going to probably be in this next package, and with new positive cases going up every single day, um, I personally don't see how they're not going to include a forced stimulus check in there. I personally don't see how, with $3.5 trillion dollars in this next package, I mean, maybe they negotiate it down a little bit from 3.5 trillion because of Kirsten Cinema. I mean, maybe it comes out at 3.2 trillion or 3 trillion. But remember, they added a second stimulus check in there in the second stimulus check package, and that package was less than 1 trillion. Less than 1 trillion. So if they found a way to put a second stimulus check in a package that was less than 1 trillion, how could they not include a fourth stimulus check in there on a package that's $3 trillion plus? I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Um, I don't see how they're not going to include a stimulus check in there with cases going crazy right now. And honestly, the pandemic is going to probably go on for a long time now that cases are skyrocketing. I mean, it's probably going to be a long, long time, guys. They're going to probably continue passing packages for like until the next midterm election. I mean, we're going to probably see 2 or 3 more major packages until the next midterm election. So, I mean, a lot of these things, by the time all is said and done, we're going to probably see the majority, if not all of these things passed before the next package. Whatever doesn't make it into this next package will probably be in the next package after this. Remember, on October 1st starts the new midterm election. Remember, on October 1st starts the new fiscal year, and Democrats get a new, fresh set of reconciliation cards where they get like 2 or 3 more of these for the new fiscal year. So they're just going to literally keep passing more stimulus packages, large packages full of all sorts of their agenda, things that they want to pass, which is basically going to be everything they don't pass in this package, or just kind of more of the same stuff. More checks, going around. Remember, there's just going to need to be more assistance as the economy continues to struggle. Remember, the last economic recovery from 2008, 2009 took 4 to 5 years to recover, guys. 4 to 5 years. And that was without a pandemic. So now with cases going crazy, over 100,000 per day, I mean, it surely ain't getting better. I mean, 4 to 5 years last time around, and now we have a pandemic to deal with. I mean, it's going to take 4 to 5 years, in my opinion, at least. I mean, if we're lucky, we're going to take 3 years. So they're going to have to keep passing packages. In fact, um, I was just reading a couple opinion articles that says, thank God for the stimulus packages because we'd be basically back to 1929 with just half the country out of work and without stimulus. Without basically stimulus was basically the godsend of keeping this economy going. And it really doesn't matter who gets the credit, whether it's the Republicans, the Democrats, or if it was former President Trump who was there for the beginning of the pandemic, who passed 5 stimulus packages, or if it's going to be current President Biden who's passed 1 package now and is going to pass these next 2 packages, 1 infrastructure package and 1 stimulus package. It really doesn't matter. It's what really matters is help the people during their time of need. In fact, check out this quote. This is kind of the quote that this is why I like Bernie Sanders, man. This is kind of what really matters. This is this quote I seen. Bernie Sanders says, "You think that I'm giving away free stuff? Wrong. I am just suggesting your tax dollars get used for valuable public services instead of wasting billions of dollars on Wall Street bailouts, wars, and corporate subsidies, because it's the billionaires who are getting the free stuff." So basically, what they're saying is instead of giving billionaires who are already, Jeff Bezos is already worth $200 billion, Elon Musk is already worth $200 billion, and their companies that are worth billions and billions and billions of dollars are getting tax subsidies. They're getting tax rebates. They're getting lowest corporate tax rates ever. They're getting these low corporate tax rates. They don't need these low corporate tax rates. They're already worth tens and hundreds of billions of dollars. So instead of giving them all these billions of dollars in tax rebates and corporate subsidies and just basically giving them billions of dollars, why give them billions of dollars? Instead, we could be giving it to the people. So why give billions of dollars to billionaires and corporations worth billions of dollars when we could give it to people in their time of needs? It's the same amount of money. So instead of giving the same amount of money to billionaires and corporations worth billions of dollars, we can literally just take that same amount of money and just give it to people in their time of need through stimulus checks, child tax credit checks, adult tax credit checks. Remember, they've already said that an adult tax credit check will be in this next package. So again, it's the same amount of money. You're just shifting it from giving it to corporations and billionaires who are already worth hundreds of billions or tens of billions of dollars. I mean, how many billions of dollars do you need? I mean, if you think differently, please let me know in the comments, because these guys are going to space, and trust me, I'm not against space travel because I've been fascinated with space my whole life. But they don't need more money. Okay, they're already going to space. They're already worth hundreds of billions of dollars. In fact, like when the stock market goes up by like 1%, they gain like $10 billion in a day. So they don't need like more corporate subsidies. Like they don't need more tax breaks. They just don't, right? So like instead of like giving them more tax breaks, like just make them pay their fair share because it only seems right. In fact, if you actually look at like Warren Buffett, who's one of the richest men in the world, it's like, and again, he's self-made, he's like the fifth richest guy in the world. He's actually for paying his own fair share. Because again, he's worth billions and billions of dollars. In fact, they give away the majority of their wealth and they still make more money than they can give away. Because again, just the tax loopholes are just insane. So all Bernie Sanders is saying is just stop giving them tax loopholes and just give the money to the people who need it. You're just taking the same amount of money and just giving it to the people who need it. It's the same amount of money. Let me know your thoughts. If you think differently, please let me know. Let me know your comments down below in the comments. So yeah, I will keep you up to date with passing package 1. Then they go immediately to passing the next stimulus package. We're going to be finding out a lot of details here literally within a matter of the next 24 to 48 hours. So do not miss any episodes at this point. New videos come out here on my YouTube channel every single day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember those times, and I will keep you updated on everything with stimulus, what's going on in our country, and what is going on in Washington, D.C. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video is about a potential $4,000 check or tax credit that could be included in this next stimulus package. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.